American Environmental Review is a national platform where nature and technology meet, where protecting and preserving our precious resources takes center stage, where the spotlight seeks out and shines on the environmental innovators. This editorial series, featured on public television, takes an inside look at the outdoors, explores how the decisions we make today impact each of our tomorrows. Plymovent was handpicked as a featured guest because of its commitment to the environment in which we live.
Hello, I'm Morley Safer. With more and more automobiles being used each year, reducing toxic emissions is essential. As we're about to learn, some innovations are helping to reduce the impact on air quality.
They boldly run toward the dangers most ordinary people run away from. And since the tragic events of September 11th, we've become painfully aware of the risks faced by firefighters, police officers, and other emergency service personnel. However, the hazards faced by these professionals are not all in the field.
We understand very clearly that 30 to 40% of all firefighters will suffer a line-of-duty injury in the course of the year. We also know by various studies that firefighters on average live 10 years less than the general population. We understand that, we accept that. What we cannot accept and must not accept is the fact that firefighters, active firefighters, are dying from cancer at rates far in excess of what the general population is. One of the many carcinogens that firefighters are exposed to are routinely found in diesel exhaust.
Since rescue workers have to be ready to respond to a call at a moment's notice, they live and work in the same space as their emergency vehicles, resulting in chronic exposure to these fumes.
We recognize that this is stuff that's inside our living quarters, in the kitchens, in the offices in which we work, in addition to the apparatus rooms where we keep our equipment. People spend 25, 30 years in one of these stations, and the cumulative effect of being around that kind of contaminant is not something that you need to be exposed to.
During an x-ray, they found a disease in there in my lungs, which was called pulmonary fibrosis. Pulmonary fibrosis is a terminal lung disease, and I've had to deal with that, and pretty much it's going to be the end of my career, as well as taking time away from my life.
In an effort to remove these toxic gases from the fire station, which may help to prevent more cases like John's, teams of fire professionals and environmental engineers with Plymovent have recently developed an airtight automatic ventilation system.
The key component of the system basically starts with a pneumatic grabber nozzle. It makes an airtight seal around the exhaust tailpipe and takes the exhaust gases into an exhaust hose, where this exhaust hose will travel with the vehicle the full length of the station and allows the exhaust gases to be jettisoned from the building to the atmosphere to a safe position.
From what I hear from the firefighters in the stations in the field are that they're very pleased with the investment we've made in their health. They find the system very easy to use, which was very important to the project team. We're very satisfied with the way this system is operating and providing the health benefits that we were looking for in an exhaust recovery system.
Since the terrorist attacks of 9/11, Washington is re-examining the critical role firefighters and EMS workers can play in homeland security. Congressman Curt Weldon has recently introduced a bill intended to increase federal funding for rescue professionals so that more fire departments nationwide can have access to the latest equipment.
We spend on average $320 billion for our international defenders. We lose over 100 fire and EMS people every year. Now, is that life any less important than a soldier, sailor, corpsman, or Marine? I say no. They should have the best equipment just as those military personnel should have. It's about time we gave it to them.
I just hope that no other firefighters across the country ever get this disease, because it's something that you don't want to have to go through.
The problem with diesel exhaust has been a significant problem of firefighters, and the sad part of that is it's the one area that we can truly control those exposures, and not only control them, we can eliminate them. And also the irony I should bring up is that those firefighters that do die from occupational disease, the age of death is significantly lower than that in the general public. You would typically see a high incidence of cancer deaths in the general public in their upper age brackets, in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. Unfortunately, in the fire service, we're seeing firefighter cancer deaths in their 40s. We're
finding out that diesel exhaust is not a good thing to be inhaling, and I'm here to tell you that it's affected my life. And if there's politicians out there that could help in finding funding for the fire departments, then please, by all means, open those purse strings, because the fire departments need your help in this issue.
There are over 2 million firefighters in the United States today, both paid and volunteer. Approximately 10% of those are protected by a vehicle exhaust system. That means 90% of the firefighters are exposed to the harmful effects of vehicle exhaust emissions. This is really the need for more funding so that we can reduce the exposure of the firefighters to this health-related problem.
The goal of firefighters and other uniformed professionals is to make the places we live and work safer. Research continues into developing ways to protect those who often risk their lives protecting ours.
Well, everyone needs to understand that we have two groups of people who defend America. We have our international defenders, who are our military and the people who respond overseas. We have our domestic defenders. Our domestic defenders are in our neighborhoods. They're our firefighters, our paramedics. They're paid, they're volunteer, and they serve in 32,000 organizations. They need help. They need more volunteers, they need more support, they need more resources, they need more training. And they need for us to understand as a nation that these are the people who keep the country strong.
John F. Kennedy once said, "The supreme reality of our time is the vulnerability of our planet." It is a timeless statement. World population, consumption, and technology push forward, often more quickly than natural resources can support, or, with consequences, more costly than we can afford. The need for a unified effort to nurture, renew, and protect the planet has never been more compelling. Therefore, once again, American Environmental Review extends a special thanks to the companies and organizations that have risen to meet today's environmental challenges. This has been a presentation of WJMK.